Welcome to Singapore Property Talk Law. We're your shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're doing a really critical deep dive. We're looking into a major cyber challenge hitting Singapore right now. It's about an ongoing attack by this group known as UNC3886. And hey, before we jump in, if you find this useful, please do like this deep dive and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss out on our latest insights.
Absolutely. So our mission today really is to help you understand what this UNC3886 group actually is. How do they operate? What's their impact here in Singapore? And interestingly, the kind of unique local reactions we've seen, plus the bigger picture implications, because this isn't just tech talk, right? It's got these fascinating human and frankly geopolitical sides to it that affect our daily lives.
Okay, right. Let's get straight into it then. The big news here was Singapore's Coordinating Minister for National Security, K. Shanmugam. He actually publicly named UNC3886, said it poses a serious danger to Singapore and could undermine national security. And he even added, quite starkly, that they are attacking our critical infrastructure right now. Well, that's pretty direct.
It is, and it's direct because of who they are, or seem to be. The cybersecurity firm Mandiant, they've assessed UNC3886 as a highly advanced China nexus espionage group, also called a state-linked advanced persistent threat, or APT actor. Now, they were first spotted back in 2022. And that UNC label just means uncategorized by the analysts. Doesn't make them any less dangerous, as the minister pointed out.
Right, uncategorized, but definitely a threat.
And they're already inside parts of Singapore's critical information infrastructure, the CIS.
Yeah, that's the stuff that powers the essential services, isn't it?
Exactly.
So we're talking about things like aviation, healthcare, banking, energy, infocom, the real backbone systems.
That's precisely it. These are the systems keeping the lights on, the water running, communications flowing. The Cybersecurity Agency, the CSA, they're heading up the investigations. They're monitoring all those critical sectors, sharing intel. But for operational security, you understand, they're not saying exactly which sectors are affected or for how long.
Okay, that makes sense. So given all that, what actually makes this group, UNC3886, so highly sophisticated? Why the big fuss? What are they doing differently?
Well, their methods.
Yeah.
Their modus operandi, it's quite something. They are really masters of stealth and persistence. A key tactic is using what we call zero-day exploits.
0 day.
Yeah, basically finding and using security flaws in software before the company that made the software even knows about them. So naturally, there's no patch, no fix ready.
Like finding a secret door no one knew existed.
Exactly. And they used one such flaw in VMware vCenter that's widely used virtualization software. They exploited it for about 1.5 years before it was patched.
Yeah, 1.5 years undetected. That's a long time.
A very long time. And another thing they do is target blind spots. These are parts of a network, maybe specific devices or virtualization systems, where typical security tools like EDR agents just can't be installed.
So they deliberately go where security can't easily see them.
Precisely. It makes detection incredibly difficult. They're hiding where the security teams often lack visibility.
So they're hiding in plain sight, almost. How do they stay there? How do they maintain that access?
They use custom-built malware, very advanced stuff. Tools like tiny shell-based backdoors with names like Unpack or IRAD. And this Unpack tool, for instance, it can actually stop logging activities. It can even patch legitimate processes in memory to avoid being detected.
Patching things in memory, that sounds incredibly intricate.
It is. It shows a really deep understanding of the technology they're targeting. There was this other fascinating detail about process injection. They found a way to inject malicious code into a legitimate process that had hung or stopped responding. They even modified its close file function to run their own code, bypassing security checks like the ones in Juniper's Junos OS. Really clever, technically speaking.
Okay, so definitely sophisticated, and you said persistent.
Very. Their goal isn't just a quick hit. It's about long-term intelligence gathering, spying. They'll try to get back in even if they're found and kicked out.
Right, so I've got this picture of a highly stealthy, very capable group focused on long-term access. But then something quite different happened when this threat became public news here in Singapore, didn't it?
Oh, yes, it was. Well, you called it uniquely Singaporean, and I think that's spot on. After Minister Shanmugam's public warning about UNC3886, well, the 4-digit lottery number, 38886, it sold out almost immediately.
Sold out, just like that.
Just like that. You saw comments online like, truly a Singapore moment, or people joking about turning threats into prosperity.
That's amazing.
It really is. It's more than just funny, though. It kind of shows how people process these big, abstract threats, doesn't it? Sometimes by latching onto something tangible, something familiar. Even a lottery number, a bit of pragmatism, maybe a coping mechanism.
And maybe we should just clarify for anyone listening who isn't familiar with 4D here.
Yeah.
A number selling out isn't magic or superstition, right?
Uh,
It's basically the lottery operator, like Singapore pools, managing their risk.
exactly.
If too many people bet on the same number, the potential payout could be huge if it hits. So they cap the bets on popular numbers to limit their financial exposure.
It's risk management by the house, pure and simple, which, as you say, is maybe its own kind of Singaporean response.
Applying financial prudence even to a cyber threat number.
Okay. Yeah, it does raise that question, though, about how we react to information, how something serious gets turned into, well, something else entirely.
Definitely food for thought. Now, this sophistication, the persistence, it brings us back to the WHO. Mandiant called UNC3886 China Nexus. That's obviously a significant claim. How did China respond?
Well, as you might expect, the response was swift. The Chinese embassy here in Singapore put out a statement pretty much immediately. They expressed strong dissatisfaction, called the link, groundless smears and accusations. Their official stance is, and they reiterated it, that China is firmly against and cracks down on all forms of cyber attacks.
And didn't they also mention that China itself is often a target of cyber attack?
Yes, they did. They pointed out that China frequently faces attacks, mainly originating from other regions. So, it highlights the real difficulty in definitively attributing cyber attacks. It's a common diplomatic position to take. And it's also fair to point out that Mandiant's original assessment, the China Nexus part, they themselves noted it was with low confidence.
Low confidence. Okay, that's an important nuance. So attribution remains murky.
Very much so. It's incredibly challenging in the cyber domain, even for the experts.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does this deep dive mean for you, our listener? Beyond the tech and the lottery numbers, what are the real implications here?
Well, the core issue is that these attacks, as we said, target critical information infrastructure. That's the stuff powering essential services, water, power, telco networks, the things we rely on every single day. If that infrastructure gets seriously compromised or taken down, well, the knock-on effects could be absolutely devastating for daily life.
Yeah, you really depend on that stuff working seamlessly.
Absolutely. Which is why Singapore's response involves not just CSA, but also units from the SAF, from MindDef, all working together. It's treated as a national security issue.
And for organizations, for individuals, what's the takeaway?
It really drills home the basics, doesn't it? The importance of good cyber hygiene, things like keeping devices updated, using multi-factor authentication wherever you can, managing configurations properly, beefing up monitoring, and using threat intelligence shared by agencies like CSA, because ultimately, if attackers compromise these core network devices, they get long-term high-level access, and that gives them the potential for much more disruptive actions down the line.
Right. It's not just about spying, it's about potential control.
Precisely.
So this deep dive has really shown us the sheer sophistication of a threat like UNC3886, but also that very unique Singaporean reaction.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder of how digital security touches everything.
It really does. And, in an age where a national security threat can almost overnight become a hot lottery number, it makes you think, doesn't it? It raises this important question. How do we, as people and as a society, figure out what really needs our serious attention for defense versus what just becomes, well, fodder for public curiosity, or maybe even a chance for a quick buck? What stands out to you from all this about how we process information in this complex world we live in?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive here on Singapore Property Talk Law.